Coming up, the shocking murder of MP David Amess happened during a time when post-Brexit Britain appears more divided, vitriolic and polarised than at any time in living memory. There are plenty in the right-wing media pointing accusing fingers at those of us on the left who are trying to robustly hold this government to account. In this video, we'll take a closer look on whether these accusations can be justified or are just an attempt to weaponise this shocking murder to score political points. Keep watching. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please give this one a like, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to be notified of new releases twice weekly. In the wake of the horrific murder of MP David Amess, the Daily Mail, and in particular their political commentator Dan Hodges, tried to make it all about the Labour Party and what they refer to as people on the left using ill-advised words. In this article, Dan Hodges singles out Angela Rayner for using the word scum at a Labour fringe meeting recently. His article appears under this image, juxtaposing a photo of Angela Rayner alongside a picture of David Amess and the location of the murder, shamelessly attempting to make a link and maybe to blame the Deputy Labour leader's comment for David Amess's murder. But at the recent Tory conference we saw some delegates wearing a Tory scum badge with pride, including Tory MPs Dehenna Davison and Oliver Dowden. Tory friends of mine, yes I do have some, delight in being called Tory scum and in calling me a pinko lefty by the way. But Dan Hodges himself has used far more visceral language than this to stir up hatred for those on the left. It was 10 days after Labour MP Joe Cox's murder by a right-wing extremist for Dan Hodges to write this hate speech in his Daily Mail column, calling for the death of Jeremy Corbyn and likening him to a vampire. There were no consequences to this article for Hodges, which is why he continues to this day to write this incendiary nonsense in the mainstream media. In my opinion, calling for a politician to be killed is a lot worse than using the word scum. On this channel, Truth to Power, I've personally been threatened and subjected to almost daily abuse, but also I've occasionally been criticised for using nicknames for leading politicians. My favourites are Cruella Patel, Blojo, Dominic the Turnip Raab. But we have a proud history in this country of mocking our leaders and a tradition of political satire. As a left-wing commentator, I've never called for them to be killed, incited violence against them or used hate speech. Contrast that with the flamboyant senior Tory MP Michael Fabricant, who has a history of calling Labour members scum, threatening to punch female journalists in the throat, and who enjoys calling pro-European Union campaigners remongers, which is causing offence to those with Down syndrome and their families. And possibly even worse is Tory James Gray, who was unfortunately my MP when I lived in Chippenham a few years back. Barely 3 weeks ago, he said that a bomb should be sent to the office of former Labour Shadow Chancellor Annalisa Dodds. James Gray has now said he regrets his remarks. I bet he does. He added, "I meant no offence and hope none was taken." Quite. I mean, who would ever take offence at the suggestion that an MP's office should be bombed? Bearing in mind also, it was his own party, the Tories, who were the victims of the IRA bombing of their party conference in Brighton back in 1984, leading to 5 deaths and 34 hospitalising injuries. And by the way, is it a coincidence that Tory MP James Gray should pick on a woman, Annalisa Dodds, or that Michael Fabricant is threatening to punch a female journalist, or that the Daily hates political commentator Dan Hodges should pick on a woman, Angela Rayner? Because it's not only the political landscape that has grown more aggressive and violent since the advisory referendum back in 2016, misogyny and violence against women seem to have reached pandemic levels. And contrary to what the idiotic Deputy Prime Minister Dominic the Turnip Raab claimed recently, misogyny is perpetrated by men against women and never the other way around. Unbelievable. Within 7 months of Sarah Everard's brutal rape and murder, 81 other women have been killed by men in the UK. According to Femicide census, on average, a woman is killed by a man in the UK every 3 days. Femicide census, by the way, is a great cause, and I do recommend you visit their website. I'll put a link below. Do the Dan Hodges and James Greys of this world ever think about the impact of their words and how they encourage the misogyny that's behind this tidal wave of femicide in the UK? Or are they too busy pointing their fingers at left-wing commentators using non-violent words like scum? Tory MPs are also pointing their fingers at Facebook and Twitter for not dealing with hate speech, and I'm in full agreement with them that a line should be drawn where hate speech calls for violence. But I can't understand why these same Tory MPs draw their line at pointing their fingers at the Daily Mail and the Daily Express and their ilk. These papers have far higher proportions of hate speech contained on their platforms. Also, as the secret barrister has recently pointed out, certain newspaper reports concerning the suspect in the David Amess killing are jaw-dropping in their prejudicial and potentially contemptuous content. To jeopardise the fairness of any future trial in this way is to prioritise clicks over justice. Utterly shameful. I would also point out that the right-wing media are referring to David Amess's killer as a British man of Somalian heritage, which sounds a little bit to me like dog whistle racism. Those same Tory supporting newspapers, funnily enough, never refer to Priti Patel, for example, as a British woman with Ugandan Asian heritage though. And I don't remember the heritage of Jo Cox's killer being a major issue, for example. As Jo Cox herself once said, we have far more in common than that which divides us. But those divisions appear to be exploited to sell newspapers or popularise social media platforms. That in itself is a huge problem. But let's be clear, the horrifying murder of popular MP Sir David Amess has got nothing to do with online abuse or robust political debate. To use his murder as a means of criticising the left when it's the extreme right who have a virtual monopoly on political violence appears to me to be a misappropriation of a tragedy for political point scoring.